9 minutes. That's how long it took for a routine boarding call at Gate 17 to upend every rule of cruising altitude decorum. One moment, Dr. Aaliyah Monroe, proud Brooklyn-raised surgeon, tight bun, tailored navy blazer, was handing over her first-class boarding pass with the casual confidence of someone who has conquered far tougher rooms. The next, an icy smile from the gate agent stalled her stride. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this seat isn't available anymore." No explanation. No apology. Just the unmistakable chill of a door quietly slamming in her face while the line of passengers shifted uncomfortably behind her. On any other day, Aaliyah might have swallowed the slight, chalking it up to another microaggression in a sky-high stack. But this morning, after a 40-hour call shift, a missed anniversary dinner, and the anniversary voicemail from her late mother still lingering on her phone, the denial cut deeper. As she stepped aside, adventure vloggers nearby aimed their cameras, sensing a viral spark. Parents pulled children closer, as though courtesy could be contagious. And somewhere in the glassy terminal reflections, Aaliyah caught her own image. A tired black woman asked, again, to prove she belonged where she had already paid to be. 9 minutes later, the seat mix-up had ballooned into a confrontation no airline manual covers. Pilots and crisp caps clustered behind the counter, flight attendants whispered in a semicircle, corporate supervisors were patched in by phone. Travelers scrolled feverishly, fingers itching to live-stream what felt like history mid-takeoff. And Aaliyah, gripping the strap of her leather carry-on, was done negotiating. Somewhere between the fourth half-hearted apology and the phrase company policy, her hospital-honed decisiveness kicked in. With slow, steady clarity, she invoked a clause hidden deep in the airline's own contract of carriage, one written to protect passengers from discriminatory service. Eyebrows arched, jaws lowered, and the intercom crackled. What does a global carrier do when its own fine print backs a passenger's demand? How far will a billion-dollar brand go to silence the steward of her own dignity? And who actually holds the power at 35,000 feet when the cabin door is still open? As the boarding bridge shuttered and security began sprinting toward the gate, Dr. Aaliyah Monroe raised her voice once, then waited. The terminal fell silent, cameras rolling as the gate agent's headset fizzed with the order that would ground an entire crew and rewrite tomorrow's headlines. For a heartbeat, the concourse seems held in a single, suspended breath as though even the moving walkways have paused to listen. Then the radio on the gate agent's hip chirps. A squall of static that cracks the trance. And the ripple of consequences begins. Dr. Aaliyah Monroe doesn't flinch. Years before she ever challenged an airline crew, she cut her teeth at Brooklyn General's Trauma Bay, where seconds decided lives. Her posture now mirrors that steel. Chin lifted, shoulders square. Mahogany eyes fixed on the uniformed supervisor jogging down the jet bridge. Aaliyah remembers her first flight at age 10, when her mother promised the clouds would feel like home. Instead, a stranger's casual, "Are you in the wrong seat, sweetie?" taught her that altitude never outruns prejudice. Today's denial of her first-class seat reignites every unspoken skirmish since. Passengers shuffle, murmuring about passenger rights and discriminatory service. A teenage boy nearby, phone trembling in landscape mode, whispers to his friend, "If this goes viral, that airline's toast." The phrase lands heavy. Aaliyah isn't chasing fame, but she understands the power of crowded eyes. She taps her screen, pulling up the airline's own contract of carriage, the digital armor she memorized during overnight lulls between surgeries. The clause she cites is blunt: if a carrier targets a traveler unequally, the crew can be replaced before departure. No fine print to hide behind. No comfortable loopholes. The supervisor arrives, breathing fast, badge glinting. "Dr. Monroe," he says, reading her title off the manifest. There's an edge of surprise, maybe respect, maybe calculation. He gestures toward a quieter corner, hoping to muzzle the scene. Aaliyah stands her ground. Her voice is calm but carries, "If we move, so do their cameras." She nods at the growing semicircle of bystanders whose lenses gleam like tiny spotlights. Across the glass wall, the aircraft's first-class cabin still glows softly, one seat conspicuously empty. Flight attendants within trade uneasy glances, realizing how quickly a routine boarding delay has morphed into a corporate crisis. In the terminal, an elderly couple recalls headlines about airlines dragging customers off planes. A young mother clutches her toddler, wary yet rooting for the poised black woman who refuses to shrink. Aaliyah's phone buzzes, her husband Malik. A text, "You okay? Gate 17 trending. Need backup?" His words spike both comfort and guilt. She never meant for a private humiliation to become a hashtag. Yet retreat would sign off on a pattern stretching back generations, pay full fare, receive half respect. Her pulse hammers with a mix of anger and purpose. Security officers approach, hands resting on radios. The supervisor flashes an anxious smile. Let's get you another seat on the next flight. First class guaranteed. The offer is rehearsed, transactional. An easy band-aid over a deeper wound. Aaliyah shakes her head. This crew denied me service I purchased. Replace them or explain on record why not. Each syllable drops like a gavel. The officers exchange glances. Jurisdiction suddenly murky. Overhead, a departure announcement for a different flight chimes cheerfully. Oblivious. The gate clock flips to 7:48. Everyone waits to see whether the airline will gamble on departure times or on public opinion. Somewhere behind the counter, someone lifts a handset and whispers, "We might need a standby crew." 9 minutes have stretched into 19, and tension clings thicker than jet fuel. Will corporate headquarters ground the flight to save face or double down and risk a headline nobody can unwrite? As the supervisor's phone lights up with a call from an unknown executive number, the crowd leans in and Aaliyah prepares for whatever answer crackles through next. A second supervisor, this one in a slate gray blazer and pinned back hair, hustles onto the scene clutching a tablet loaded with incident codes. She's Helena Ruiz, Regional Operations Manager, and her arrival fractures the uneasy stalemate. Helena's job is to keep flights moving, but she's also a mother of three who remembers her own abuela being escorted off a plane for speaking too loudly in Spanish. Watching Dr. Aaliyah Monroe stand firm, Helena feels the tug of two loyalties, corporate metrics or a conscience that pings louder with every recorded second of the standoff. Inside the aircraft, Captain Drew Whitlock finishes a terse call with crew scheduling. If the company replaces him, he'll miss the seniority threshold for a lucrative Pacific route he's chased all year. His co-pilot nods toward the cabin windows where smartphones flash like lightning. "We could walk," she murmurs. Drew's grip tightens on the yoke. Walking would side with the passenger and cost him everything he's sacrificed family vacations for. Stay, and he risks becoming the face of airline discrimination. The pilot's union hotline blinks unanswered on his screen. Back in the terminal, tension ricochets. A middle-aged consultant in business class mutters that he'll miss a multimillion-dollar pitch if the flight cancels. A flight attendant overhears and blanches. Her daughter's tuition bill posts tomorrow, and a grounded crew earns no per diem. The crowd's empathy splits. Fight for passenger rights or protect workers caught in policy crossfire. The moral ground shifts like moving walkways. Aaliyah feels that shift too. Her stamina phrase, the soft ping of her hospital's secure app, reminds her of the transplant patient she's meant to consult at the other end of this journey. One delayed connection could push a fragile liver past viability. The plane, the crew, even Helena all morph into mirrors of Aaliyah's own flaw, her belief that justice must be immediate, clean, absolute. But life in New York has taught her that heroic fixes sometimes bleed unseen costs. Helena steps forward. "Dr. Monroe, may I speak privately on record?" Cameras follow anyway. Helena explains that replacing a whole crew means a minimum 5-hour delay, maybe cancellation. You get a refund and rebooking, but every passenger here would be stranded. Some crew could lose pay today. The words hang heavy. Aaliyah's anger battles her oath to do no harm. She recalls her mother's mantra, fight the system, not the people stuck in it, and wonders if she's aiming at the wrong target. Yet across the crowd, a quiet voice rises, "We'll wait." It's the teenage boy with the shaking phone, eyes fierce now. One by one others echo him, parents, students, even the business consultant. The solidarity surprises everyone, even Aaliyah. But Helena notices darker ripples. A uniformed security chief whispers that the airport is nearing protocol to disperse unruly assemblies. A tweet flashes on the departures board, algorithmically surfaced. Hashtag replace the crew trending at 60,000 mentions per minute. Headquarters can't ignore that velocity. Foreshadowing cuts through the clamor like a boarding chime. Somewhere in the airline's encrypted Slack, a crisis comms strategist drafts an internal memo titled, "Offer Settlement, Silence Dr. Monroe." Far away, Malik receives a DM from a civil rights attorney volunteering pro bono representation. And on the tarmac, a spare aircraft idles, fueled, crewed, anonymous, waiting for orders that could erase every witness in Gate 17. Captain Whitlock's cockpit door clicks as he steps into the jet bridge, decision sealed in his eyes. Helena's tablet pings with a confidential directive. Aaliyah inhales, the weight of hundreds of delayed heartbeats pressing against her chest. One more choice, one more 9-minute window, and the story will either ignite or implode. The terminal is electric now, buzzing, pulsing, as if the whole place might lift off before the plane does. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Phones stay locked on record. Somewhere, a toddler cries, but no one turns. Everyone is watching the standoff unfold frame by frame. Captain Whitlock's shoes strike the jet bridge with stiff, echoing steps. His expression is unreadable, jaw tight, eyes scanning the gathering. A man trained to fly above storms now walks into one he helped create. Behind him, the flight attendants cluster by the cabin door, eyes darting to the terminal as though they already know their fate is sealed. Helena's tablet buzzes again. She glances at it, then at Aaliyah, visibly hesitating. The message on screen is a silent bomb. Proceed with crew replacement protocol 7, quietly. No instructions about what to tell the passengers. No script. Just fallout to manage. Her fingers tremble as she locks the screen. Then the speaker system pops to life. But it's not the airline speaking. It's Aaliyah. Someone handed her a hot mic, an employee, maybe, or a passenger who got tired of silence. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. I'm not here to punish a crew. I'm here because someone decided I didn't belong in a seat I paid for. I'm here because that's not the first time, and it never seems to be the last. The crowd leans in. Cameras angle up. Even Helena forgets to breathe. I'm a doctor. I've held the hands of mothers losing sons, of fathers breaking under the weight of what was taken from them. I know how pain builds, and I know when to stop a system from hurting more people. Her eyes flick to Helena, then to the captain, then finally to the waiting jet. But if it takes one grounded flight to say enough, then so be it. For one blazing second, no one moves. Then chaos threatens to crack the scene. A voice shouts from behind the gate desk. New crew is en route. Flight delayed by 2 hours. Company orders. The announcement isn't smooth or PR friendly. It's raw, loud, and real. A ripple of disbelief spreads through the terminal. The crew on duty stiffens. A flight attendant starts to cry, quietly. Captain Whitlock looks at Helena. You just fired us without telling us first? Helena opens her mouth. But the words don't come. She didn't issue the call. Higher up did. Aaliyah stares at the captain, her body rigid. This wasn't the plan. She didn't want revenge. She wanted to be heard. But now it's happening. The full cost of it. In real time, Malik's text buzzes again. CNN wants an interview. What do you want me to say? She doesn't answer. Because suddenly the crowd parts. A woman in a crisp pantsuit emerges, someone no one's seen before. Not TSA. Not gate staff. Not security. Dr. Monroe, she says, voice low, urgent. I'm with the airline's legal department. I need to speak with you. Privately. Now. The woman's badge says Senior Litigation Counsel. And behind her, a second team appears, uniforms, tablets, headsets. They weren't here 5 minutes ago. Now they're everywhere. And suddenly it's clear the real confrontation hasn't even started yet. Helena's throat tightens as the litigation counsel, Ava Sinclair, stitched steel smile, ushers Aaliyah toward a glass-walled conference room beside the gate. Passengers press closer, phones rising like periscopes, but tinted glass swallows every angle. Inside, Ava slides a folder across the table, non-disclosure agreement, immediate cash settlement, plus lifetime platinum status. Sign, we apologize publicly. We reinstate the crew. Everyone boards in 40 minutes. Her tone drips with urgency. Aaliyah's fingers hover above the pen. A way out, neat and fast. But the paper feels radioactive. Across the terminal, Captain Whitlock paces. Crew scheduling has notified him he's suspended pending investigation. Betrayal burns hotter than fear. He dials the pilots' union again. Voicemail. On a hunch, he checks his email and freezes. A time-stamped memo from 2 hours earlier instructs supervisors to downgrade select high-fare passengers to create operational buffers. The list is attached. Dr. Monroe's name is highlighted. The directive is signed not by Helena, but by a senior VP who's spent months pushing an unspoken agenda. Keep premium cabins aligned with brand image. Whitlock's pulse spikes. The crew wasn't rogue. They were following orders. Back in the conference room, Ava pivots. Look, doctor, the boys' live stream just hit 500,000 views. Walk away now, you keep control of your narrative. Aaliyah's mind flashes to her transplant patient waiting states away, to the crying flight attendant, to Malik fielding reporters alone. She almost says yes. Then her phone pings with an anonymous airdrop. The memo Whitlock found. Proof the discrimination was policy. Her breath stalls. Betrayal isn't isolated. It's systemic. Helena, still outside, intercepts a frantic call from operations. Pull that NDA, memo's leaked. Crisis level red. She meets Whitlock's eyes through the glass. Realization dawning that they've both been scapegoats. Without hesitation, she yanks the emergency intercom key. Airport protocol says it's for evacuations only. Helena doesn't care. Attention passengers of Flight 784. Her voice booms, shaking rafters. You deserve the truth. She reads the memo aloud, every word echoing across food courts and duty-free aisles. Gasps, then furious applause. Security scrambles too late to cut the feed, doesn't stream it live. Inside, Ava lunges for the door, but Aaliyah blocks her path. The NDA flutters to the floor like a discarded mask. This isn't about one seat anymore, Aaliyah says, voice steady as turbines. It's about every name on that list. Across terminals worldwide, #manifest memo trends in 13 languages. Investors ping analysts. Congressional aides bookmark the leak. A forgotten overhead TV flips from weather to a breaking banner. Airline executive resignations loom after discrimination file exposed. Yet even amid uproar, urgency sharpens. The transplant coordinator calls liver transport window shrinking. Aaliyah still needs to fly. Helena keys up operations, get me that standby plane, new crew, wheels up in 90. But corporate counters ordering all flights grounded until legal reviews finish. Thousands of passengers could be stranded. Aaliyah faces Helena through the glass, two women on opposite sides of authority but the same side of truth. One last decision hangs between them, obey corporate lockdown and let a patient die, or defy orders and launch a flight that could bankrupt a brand. Helena's gaze hardens. She reaches for the radio. Bridge control, prep gate 22. Unscheduled departure. Priority medical. Static crackles, awaiting confirmation while uniformed security begins closing in. The security cordon tightens around gate 17, but Helena is already sprinting toward gate 22, radio pressed to her lips. Standby crew Bravo, report to jet bridge, medical priority, lifeguard call sign. FAA regs give any flight moving an organ transplant first clearance. Corporate lockdown can't overrule that without risking federal sanction. The tower hesitates, then grants a slot at 21:32. Wheels up in 46 minutes. Aaliyah emerges from the glass room, NDA still unsigned, her phone ablaze with #manifest memo alerts. Passengers part to let her through, cheering as she hurries after Helena. At the edge of the crowd, Captain Whitlock intercepts her, cap tucked under one arm. I'm flying you, he says. You're suspended, she replies. Then we both defy orders, he answers, eyes fierce. He flashes his own phone, the union just voted unanimous support. Any punitive action will trigger a system-wide sick-out. One choice now outweighs every Pacific route dream. They reach gate 22. The standby crew, young, diverse, wide-eyed, salutes Whitlock. A crying flight attendant from the original team slips in beside them. I clocked out, she whispers. I'm volunteering. No per diem needed. Inside the terminal, Ava Sinclair calls headquarters. They're staging an unauthorized flight. The senior VP barks back to ground them. But the tower's already logged the lifeguard clearance. Deny it, and the FAA starts asking why a transplant patient died on a runway for shareholder optics. Boarding is guerrilla quick. Aaliyah, Whitlock, crew, two medtechs rushing a cooler-stamped human organ, and, unexpectedly, the teenage live streamer Jake, now press-badged by a major network. He's allowed aboard as embedded media. His feed will be the airline's living audit trail. Jet engines whine awake. Security reaches the gate just as the bridge retracts. A helmeted officer bangs on the fuselage, orders muffled by the roar. Whitlock radios ground. Tower? Lifeguard 784 requesting immediate taxi. Cleared. The controller replies. A pause, then softer. And, good luck, doctor. Taxi lights streak across wet tarmac. In row 1, Aaliyah straps in, adrenaline thrumming. She thinks of the patient, the organ's ticking viability, and wonders if righteousness can truly outrun bureaucracy. At V1 speed, the jet lifts, night swallowing the windows. Cabin lights dim. For the first time all day, silence feels earned. 34,000 feet above the fray, Whitlock engages autopilot and turns to Aaliyah. "You should know," he says, voice low. "I leaked that memo through the kid's phone. My grandfather flew red tails, fought the same fight in different skies. I couldn't stay quiet." Aaliyah's breath catches, betrayal inverted into alliance. The boy's stream blinks a notification. Airline CEO resigns mid-flight, federal investigation opened. Down below, terminals erupt in applause none of them can hear. Landing lights glint off distant city grids. They'll make it 15 minutes before the transplant window closes. Relief blooms, sharp and sweet. Right then the cockpit printer rattles to life, spitting a weather fax no one requested. A single line repeats down the page, "Next time, keep your head down." No signature. An unnerving reminder that systems, like hydras, sprout new heads in shadow. Aaliyah folds the printout, slips it into her journal beside the memo. Victory tonight, she thinks, but vigilance forever. The jet descends through cloud breaks toward salvation and whatever storm waits beyond the runway lights. The wheels kiss the runway just after 2:17 a.m., rain hissing beneath the tires like a long exhale. Paramedics rush the human organ cooler into a waiting ambulance while Dr. Aaliyah Monroe jogs beside the gurney, still wearing her airport blazer over hospital scrubs. 42 minutes later, in a sterile operating theater, the liver slides into place and pinks with new blood. A single beat becomes a steady rhythm. Life reclaimed. News of the unauthorized lifeguard flight detonates before dawn. Passengers post footage of Helena Ruiz defying corporate lockdown. The teenage live streamer, Jake, uploads the cockpit confession. Hashtags, airline discrimination, passenger rights, organ transplant miracle lace every timeline. By sunrise, the FAA announces a joint investigation with the Department of Transportation. Share prices wobble, then plunge. Captain Drew Whitlock and the volunteer crew expect suspensions. Instead, they receive temporary commendations. Public sentiment leaves the airline no room for retaliation. Whitlock's long-coveted Pacific route becomes his on principle alone. He mails the route award plaque to his grandmother with a note, "For Granddad and every red tail who cleared the sky." Helena faces her own reckoning. Headquarters offers hush money promotion. She declines. 2 weeks later, she appears at a Senate hearing, memo in hand, outlining how discriminatory operational buffers quietly padded quarterly metrics. Lawmakers nod, cameras flash. Passenger rights reform gains bipartisan sponsors for the first time in a decade. Ava Sinclair resigns. Her NDA folder, unsigned, sits in a recycling bin caught on film by an airport janitor whose clip goes viral, trash where it belongs. And the patient? He wakes groggy but laughing, clutching Aaliyah's hand. "Guess you really do move mountains," he murmurs. She thinks of terminal crowds chanting, "Wheel wait," of Whitlock leaking the memo, of Helena's trembling but courageous broadcast. Mountains moved because many shoved at once. That afternoon, Malik meets Aaliyah outside the recovery ward. Reporters cluster nearby, hungry for a quote. Malik squeezes her shoulder. "Tell them the truth," he says. So she does, standing beneath hospital floodlights, voice soft after the adrenaline storm. "This seat," she begins, tapping her chest, "belongs to anyone who's ever been told they don't fit the cabin, the boardroom, or the operating table. Keep your boarding passes close. We're not done flying." A hush, then thunderous applause. She steps back, exhaustion finally catching up, but hope glints brighter. Jake signals from the press scrum he's starting a nonprofit to document passenger abuses. Helena holds up a thumb from behind the microphones. Whitlock texts a photo of the cockpit printer's threat, captioned, "Heads up, hydras grow fast. Stay ready." Aaliyah replies, "We keep flying higher." The camera lights fade, leaving hospital windows aglow against a pink-gold sunset. In the quiet, she scrolls to a notification from the transplant coordinator, "Patient stable. Prognosis optimistic." She smiles, bittersweet, victorious, aware the fight renews tomorrow. Your boarding call, viewer, is now. Speak up when systems buckle, film when stories need light, and never trade silence for comfort. Hit subscribe, share this journey, and keep your own seatbelt fastened because the next 9-minute window may depend on you.